Hello, my dear grade 8 students. So, welcome back to our class. Again, this is your teacher, Miss Cabs, and here we are again for our new exciting episode of our science class in Science 8. And today we're going to discuss all about the periodic table of elements. And this will be the last topic in our third quarter. Yay! But of course, before we proceed to our lesson, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for new updates in our science class. And for today's objective, and this is based on our most essential learning competencies, is that we are going to use the periodic table to predict the chemical behavior of an element. So therefore, prepare your periodic table. So as we start, scientists have always searched for patterns, regularities, and symmetries in nature. So, if a pattern can be discovered, information and data be arranged and organized in ways that will make it more understandable, meaningful, and useful. So, an excellent example of this is the periodic table. So, if you could still remember, in grade 7, you learned about the periodic table. Now, the elements, which is the building blocks of matter, are listed in that table, of course. And in our module 2, you learned that atoms that make up these elements are identified by their atomic number. So in this module, you will learn that elements were arranged in periodic table in rows and columns according to their increasing atomic numbers. So this arrangement was based on properties of elements which were found to be repeated regularly through the elements arranged according to the increasing atomic number. So the properties were recurring periodically, hence patterns in the properties are observed. So you will recognize this incredible feature of the periodic table in this module. So as you explore its full potential as a source of information about the elements, you might even find it like a roadmap as you journey in your chemistry class. So it would be helpful to keep it handy all the time. So how did the periodic table develop? And what information about elements can be obtained from this organizing tool? The periodic table was developed as a result of years of painstaking work by different scientists. So its present form was a result of meticulous and thorough study by the scientists. The development of the periodic table could be traced back in 1817 to the work of Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner, a German chemist who formed the triads of elements with similar properties like the triad of calcium, barium, and strontium. So therefore, the idea of periodic table begins in the year 1817 by Dobereiner. He formed the triads of elements with similar properties. And in 1863, John Newlands, an English chemist, proposed the law of octaves. So he based his classification of elements on the fact that similar properties could be noted for every 8 element when they arrange in order of increasing atomic masses. So take note with that, guys. They arrange the elements in their periodic table by or according to the increasing atomic masses. Okay, so don't forget that John Newlands, he proposed the law of octaves. And around 1869, there are two scientists determined a way to put that elements in order. So we have Lothar Meyer and Dmitry Mendeleev both came up with periodic tables that showed how elements should be grouped. So it is interesting to note, guys, that these two scientists did not personally know each other, but they came up with the same conclusions. So both scientists were teachers living and working in different places. So Mayer lived and worked in Germany while Mendeleev is in Russia. Sorry for that. Okay, so they both arranged the elements in order of increasing atomic mass. So just like um, Dobereinier, no, they 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 arranged the elements according to their atomic masses. So while putting in groups those with similar properties, both of them also left blank spaces in their tables, believing that these spaces would be filled later with elements yet to be discovered. So who knows? No, you will be the one to fill in the blanks, or I mean fill in the spaces in the periodic table. Na baka kayo pa yung discover ng bagong element. Okay? So that is why they left blank spaces in their tables, because they believe that meron pa silang hindi na di-discover na mga elements. So, organization of the elements in one table was truly a Herculean task, because as more information was gathered about existing and newly discovered elements, irregularities were observed. So, some newly identified elements had properties that did not match those of the groups already included in the periodic table. So, to fit into the right groups, the position of a few elements had to be rearranged. So, there were even elements that had to be placed in the table as new group. So, therefore, the table needs to be revised. So, in 1914, Henry Moseley, an English physicist, observed that the order of the X-ray frequencies emitted by elements follows the ordering of the elements by atomic number. This observation led to the development of the modern periodic table. Modern periodic law. Okay, so which states that the properties of elements vary periodically with atomic number. So take note with this, guys. So Henry developed or observed na, the arrangement of the elements according to their atomic number. So can you recall what you learned in Module 2? What is atomic number? So yes, atomic number is equal to the number of protons in the molecules of an atom. So therefore, the atomic number is a common characteristic of all atoms of an element. So this is now the modern periodic table. The modern periodic table organizes elements in such a way that information about the elements and their compounds are easily revealed. So the vertical columns of the periodic table called groups. So they are also identified as the principal families of elements. And next is the horizontal rows, or they are also called as periods. Okay, so for the vertical, they are groups, and for the horizontal, they are called as periods. So they are numbered from the top to bottom. So for example, the elements lithium across neon from period 2. Yeah? So there are how many horizontal rows? So as you can see, there are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So therefore, there are 7 horizontal rows, or there are 7 periods in the periodic table. So some families have their special names. So pag sinabi natin families, this is the vertical column, right? Okay. So in group 1, yes, the group 1 is called the alkali metals. In group 2 is the alkaline earth metals. Yes. And in group 17, they are called as the halogens group. And group 18 are the noble gases. So groups 13 to 16, they are named based on the first element found in their family. So just like for example the boron. So this is the boron group, the carbon group, nitrogen group, and this is the oxygen group. No? Group 16 is named as the oxygen group. So from group 13 to 16, they are named based on their first element found in their families. So the elements are grouped into blocks or series in the periodic table. So in later grades, maglabot ka mo sa grade 9, you will learn how elements were grouped in blocks. So group 3 to group 12 constitutes one block wherein elements in this block are referred as the transition elements. The lactanides and the actinides are special series of elements but are also part of the transition block. So they are also called as the uh, inner transition elements. So elements from taller columns from group 1, group 2, here's one. Group 1, hindi na mag-agi. From group 1, group 2, na 13 to 18 no, are called representative elements or main groups of the periodic table. So take note with that. From groups 1 to 13 to 18 are called the representative elements or main groups of the periodic table. So now, can you recall what you learned in grade 7? We can use the periodic table to identify the elements na, as metals, non-metals, semi-metals, or the, what you call that, the metalloids, right? So a stair-step line separates the metals and the non-metals. So the majority of the elements on the left side of the table are metals, and the non-metals are confined to the right side of the table. So, moreover, no, you have learned in grade 7 that the elements along the stair step line are the semi-metals or metalloids, right? Okay, so they are boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and polonium. So, bakit sila tinawag na metalloids or semi-metals? Because semi-metals have the appearance and some properties of a metal. They have the appearance and properties of a metal, but they also behave like a non-metal in certain instances. So that is why they called as semi-metals or metalloids. So the boron, although not resembling a metal in appearance, so is included because it resembles silicon, germanium, and antimony, and they act as semiconductors, which are important in solid-state electronic circuits. So when we speak of semiconductors, they are insulators at lower temperatures but become conductors at higher temperatures. The physical properties of metals include luster, ductility, malleability, and conductivity. So take note guys that metals vary in their reactivity. So the most reactive metals will react even with cold water, while the least will not react even with acid. So the ease and speed with which metals reacts with another substance is called the reactivity. So take note guys, now metals vary in their reactivity. The most reactive metals will react even with cold water, while the least will not react even with acid. Yes, now, here we are. So, the reactivity of metals can cause deterioration of materials. So, kindly take a look at this picture. So, as you can see, there are people who are conversing. No? If the nails get wet, they will go rusty. The second person says they will not rust if you keep them cold. And the other person says they will not rust if they are completely underwater. And the fourth person says that they will go rusty quickly if they touch other rusty nails. So what do you think? So again, the reactivity of metals can cause deterioration of the materials. So try to take a look at these pictures. Yan. How about this one? So, what do you think, or what do you call with that reactions? So, the gradual wearing away of a metal due to interaction with another substances or with other substances is called the corrosion. Okay, so again, the gradual wearing away of metal due to interaction with other substances is called corrosion. So as you can see, no, in the pictures, uh, there are what you call that rust. So makita nyo na may mga ano na kalawang, yung tawag doon kalawang. So in your grade 7, now, if you conducted an experiment, you have seen that iron corrodes when exposed to commercial acetic acid or what you call the vinegar. So if you do that activity, so once you put the iron to the acetic acid or to the vinegar, it what happens? It corrodes. For if you put the iron into the acetic acid for a long period of time. Okay, so in our next activity, you will observe more of this type of reaction using a stronger acid this time. So we will have to use a stronger acid or the hydrochloric acid. So do you have any idea what is hydrochloric acid? In short, or in this common name is muriatic acid, which we use it for cleaning. Yes. Okay, so try. Okay, kindly watch this video, guys. Observe carefully. And yes, this is supposedly if we are in face-to-face situation, or we are in a face-to-face classes. So we will have to also conduct this activity. But since now we are in this online mode, so I will just show you a video. Okay, so the materials for this activity or for this experiment is the hydrochloric acid, or what we call the muriatic acid. So for the metals, we have zinc, copper, magnesium, iron, and tin. So I want you to write it in your paper, now the table there, as you can see in your screen. So you are going to observe, or you are going to write the observable reactions with muriatic acid. So we have there the different metals, the zinc, copper, magnesium, iron, and tin. So try to watch the video carefully. So as you observe their reactions with muriatic acid, so you are just check the box. It's either violent, slow, or no reaction. Okay, so after you watch the video, so here is now our question. So for question number 1, which of those metals reacts with muriatic acid and which did not react with muriatic acid? Guys, take note that a reaction does not always happen between a metal and a compound. So in the video, or in that case, the reaction of metals with acid like your hydrochloric acid or the muriatic acid produces bubbles of hydrogen and a colorless solution of a metal chloride. So there is an existing definite order of reactivity among metals and hydrogen according to their ability to displace one another. So this arrangement is called the metal reactivity series, or the activity series of metals. So the activity series, right, is an arrangement of metals according to decreasing order of reactivity. So from the most reactive to least reactive. So as shown in your screen. Try to take a look at your screen. So again, the activity series of metals is an arrangement of metals according to decreasing order of reactivity. So from potassium, this is the most reactive element, and for the least reactive is the platinum. Okay, so from group number 1 down to transition metals. So now, question number 2. Potassium, sodium, lithium are metals belonging to group 1. So in this group, how does reactivity vary? Increasing or decreasing from top to bottom in the periodic table? So try to take a look at your periodic table, guys. Okay, so as you answer these questions, try to take a look at your periodic table. For question number 3, does the relative reactivity of calcium and magnesium follow this trend? Question number 4. Sodium, magnesium, and aluminum belong to period 2. So does reactivity increase or decrease from left to right among elements in a period? And for question number 5, from your answer in question number 3 to question number 4, yes, make a generalization of the variation of the reactivity of metals for those belonging to a group and for those belonging to a period. And for question number 6, which will be more reactive in the following pairs of metal in every case? So, first, magnesium or sodium with hydrochloric acid. Second, the silver or aluminum with hydrochloric acid. Next, the iron or zinc with copper sulfate. So try to choose that which will be more reactive, no, in the following pairs of metals. Okay, let's proceed. So think about the changes that you have observed around you, particularly those involving metals. You may also try to recall what you have done in your grade 7. When you place an iron nail in a container of acetic acid or vinegar. So here's the question now for question number 7. What harmful change or changes is or are brought about when a metal reacts or mixes with acids? And question number 8. What are some ways of preventing corrosion of metals? Okay, so in our activity, in the video, you have learned that metals react differently with other substances, right? So, however, a general trend emerges as seen in the activity series and evident in the periodic table as well. So kindly refer it to your periodic table. You will notice that the reactions get more vigorous as you go down the group and tend to decrease across a period. So, meron ako ditong periodic table, guys. Pero, yan, ganyan. So, as you can see in your periodic table, you will notice that the reactions get more vigorous as you go down to the group. Now, as you go down to the group, ano to yung ano ganitong group? No, the vertical column of in the periodic table. So, meaning they tend to decrease across a period. Therefore, with the help of your periodic table, you may be you may be able to predict the reactivities of metals. With respect to the position in the periodic table of the representative elements, metallic character increases from top to bottom and decreases from left to right. So try to take a look at your periodic table again, guys. No? So the metallic character increases from top to bottom and decreases from left to right. Try to take a look at your periodic table. No, hindi siya clear dito eh. Okay, masyadong malaki yung periodic table ko para mapakita sa inyo. So, take note with that, guys, ha. The metallic character increases from top to bottom and decreases from left to right. And while the non-metallic character decreases from, again, from top to bottom and increases from left to right. Metallic property relates to how easy it is for an atom to lose an electron. On the other hand, non-metallic property relates to how easy it is for an atom to gain an electron. Okay, so meaning metallic property can lose an electron, and non-metallic properties can gain an electron. Okay, so when you proceed to grade 9, so we will talk about this. So, and makikita pa tayo sa mag-grade 9 kayo. So guys, if you could still remember in our Module 2, you learned that the behavior of electrons is complicated to describe, right? However, we use a model of electronic structure, so which presents a picture where electrons occupies regions around the nucleus, and it's called the electron shells. So these are also called the energy levels because each electron shell corresponds to a particular energy. Again, so these are also called as energy levels because each electron in the shell corresponds to a particular energy. Each electron shell can hold only a certain number of electrons. So the way the electrons of an atom are distributed in the various energy levels or electron shells is called the electronic configuration. This one. The lowest energy is the one nearest to the nucleus. And as you can see, sorry guys, and as you can see, na, so the energy level that is nearest to the nucleus is the lowest energy level. So it can hold only 2 electrons. So this is the energy level that electrons occupies first. So it can accommodate, yes, as we have said, it can accommodate a maximum of 2 electrons only. So if there are more than 2 electrons, so ma-occupy naman na sila sa succeeding higher energy levels. So try to take a look at the picture. So this is the lowest energy level and it can hold only 2 atoms. And for the second energy level, now as you can see, it can hold 8 electrons. So, pwedeng dito siya yung electron, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yan. So, yun ang magiging arrangement ng electrons sa energy level. And the third energy level can hold 18 electrons. And the fourth energy levels can hold 32 electrons. So take note, this is the energy level of an atom and it is also called as the electron shells. Take note that the lowest energy level is the one nearest to the nucleus. At ilan yung electrons ang pwede niyang i-hold? So, only 2 electrons. 2, 8, 18, 32. Okay? So, take note with that guys kasi magagamit nyo ito kung ma-proceed na kayo sa grade 9. Okay? So, next. So, guys, the highest energy level that an electron occupies is referred to as the outermost shell or valence shell. Okay? And the electrons in the valence shell or valence are called the valence electrons. Okay, so these electrons are, again, valence electrons are the ones involved in chemical reactions. So yung makikita nyo na electrons in the outermost shell is the valence electron, which is the electrons that is or are responsible or involved in chemical reactions. So the chemical properties of an element depends on the number of valence electrons. So in your later grade, no? So, ma-discuss yan. We will have to discuss that when you are in grade 9. So, magkikita pa tayo grade 9 kung paano natin ma-identify yung valence electron. Okay? So, but I will give you a hint. No? Just try to take a look at your periodic table. So, try to take a look at your hydrogen. So, hydrogen has one valence electron, I mean, because if you can see, 1 lang yung 1s1. Take note. Tingnan nyo. 1s1. So, meaning, in the lowest energy level lang yung makikita natin yung electron ng hydrogen. Okay? So, 1 electron lang yung makikita natin sa hydrogen. And try to take a look uh, lithium. The lithium. 1s2, 2s1. Okay. So, in the lowest energy level, so, kumpleto yung electron natin. 1s2. So, meaning na complete yung electron. So, 1s2. Then, ma-proceed naman siya in the next level, which is in the second energy level, which is 2s1. So, meaning, in the second energy level, isa lang yung makikita natin na electron. So, therefore, the valence electron of lithium is 1. Okay? Yes. So, you will understand more of that when you are in grade 9, guys. So, out of out of time na po tayo kung i-discuss natin ngayon, no? Kasi mag-grade 9 pa kayo, dapat i-discuss yan. Okay, so let's proceed. So, the reactivity of metals is related to ease with which they lost electrons in their valence shell. So, you learn that when an atom loses electrons, a cation is formed. And when an atom gains electrons, an anion is formed. Take note, guys. An anion is an ion that has gained one or more electrons and they acquire a negative charge. While cation, they loses electrons and they gain a positive charge. So in the next grade level, you will learn that some nonmetals, on the other hand, tend to gain electrons, thus forming an ions. Okay? And the formation of ions among the elements results in the formation of many different compounds. And in later levels, you will also learn that some elements, instead of losing or gaining electrons, they tend to share electrons with other atoms to form compounds. So you will know that in your next level. Yes. And in all cases, take note, guys, that it is the valence electrons which participate in the formation of these compounds. Okay? Okay. Okay, so dun pala nagtatapos yung lesson natin. Okay, so and of course, before we end, let me remind you of your answers. Do not forget to attach it or submit it in our Google Classroom. Okay, and if you have some questions or clarifications, please do not hesitate to message me through our messenger, right? And guys, again, let me remind you, business hours lang po tayo ha. So, beyond 6:30 p.m. So, baka hindi na ako makareply sa mga questions nyo. Okay? So, baka sa next day ko na ma-replyan kasi, you know what guys, na family time. So, I hope you will understand that. Okay? So, Again, thank you for listening and I hope na meron kayong natutunan sa lesson na to. Okay? So, that's all for this lesson. I think na mababay na tayo. Okay, so keep safe everyone and God bless to all of us.